What is happening there, fellow citizens of the Reject Nation? We are going to watch something different today, something that I don't know if we've ever done a documentary before. Maybe, I just don't recall off the top of my head. It is Superman, the Christopher Reeve Story. I didn't see the trailer. No, wait, I did. Did I?
I don't know. I didn't.
Might have reacted to it, maybe? I don't know.
I think I saw it twice.
Went from I didn't to I reacted to it twice, or saw it twice.
James Gunn has said, like, he actually considers this like the real first DCU movie.
Oh, wow.
And with the Superman trailer coming out, I'm like, yeah, let's watch this. Let's get a good vibe of this. So, of course, joined by Aaron Alexander over here.
Hello.
We got Andrew Gordon, Agor 7.
Flash.
And now you want.
Oh, my bad.
Now you want to do it.
My
You
bad.
just defaulted.
I'm
sorry.
Every time I try to chew you have
I'm not swell today. my bad.
Whatever. Thank you so much for being here. Please go ahead. Leave your thoughts down below what you thought about this movie. I'm just really looking forward to watching it. Leave a like. Ring that bell. That
Lightly,
thing.
respectfully.
That thing is just something that it will work one day.
I
And
love it.
also, Praper, thanks for editing this down. The full-length reaction watch-along series, Think Up With Your Own Copy, is available for our super sexy rejects. We're watching this off Max, where it's currently available. All right, guys, you ready to learn about Christopher Reeves? Or Christopher Reeve or Reeves? I believe it's
Reeve.
Christopher Reeve.
right? Yeah.
And if we don't know, the movie will definitely correct us.
All right, let's do it. That is where you can see Cole. I love this intro.
Same. It's so simple, but so effective.
Well, I haven't seen this because there's a show I haven't watched yet.
Well, now you have. This is the first entry into DC Studios. Oh, it's an HBO film. I didn't know
HBO
that.
documentary films?
Wow. CNN. I almost saw this in theaters, too, so.
Yeah.
Goosebumps. John Williams.
Wow, what a legend.
We are about to meet someone who made the whole world believe that he could fly.
Wow.
He really did.
There is something about America which is very short on heroes. We need something. We need all the heroes we can get.
Yeah. Give us something to believe in.
Superman may be make-believe, but the qualities of courage and of character that make him unique are very real.
Damn, yes.
Superman movies, making him one of the most famous faces in Hollywood.
How you doing?
That was Jack Nicholson.
Superman has changed everything.
Superman the Joker in a shot.
Today, Superman. Tomorrow, what?
Man of Tomorrow.
Do you prefer to be called Chris or Christopher or Mr. Reeve?
Or sir.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think I've seen his other work.
My professional and personal life seem perfectly balanced. Our plans for the year were falling into place beautifully.
Just take a second to really make a wish for the new year. Think about a nice wish for the new year, and we'll all blow out the candles together.
He was a Superman in his family life.
And then, in an instant, everything changed.
Wow, we really wouldn't be here today with all this without Christopher Reeve, huh?
No, man. You laid the groundwork for everything. Also, that was a great intro. Just kind of
Yeah.
like the way it was tonally paced and everything.
I mean, it really shows you that he had big plans for the future. Hopefully, and it all changed.
Whoa.
But I love how he said, like, it's the qualities of why Superman is so great.
Very beautiful intro.
He was a Superman.
Most of what I remember about my dad comes from stories and photos and videos. It's coalesced in my brain as a memory, and it's kind of a perfect day.
Oh.
My childhood bedroom shared a wall with my parents' bathroom. I would knock on the bathroom wall, and my dad, he would knock back.
Oh, it looks just like his dad.
Wow, I know.
Oh, it's
My
adorable.
mom was out of this world. A hug from my mom was like being wrapped up by the sun.
Wow, what a metaphor.
Merry Christmas.
Beautiful.
Matthew and Al are my half siblings, but as we say, there's no half. They're my brother and sister.
That's
Yep.
right.
Amen.
What a family.
Dad and my mom separated when I was 3. We had 2 households. During the school year, my brother and I would be in England, and then every vacation we would come over to the States.
Wow.
Usually, you know, get like 10 days or a couple weeks doing things with my dad. It was all about activity and action. Riding bikes, playing soccer, skiing, swimming, horse riding with my sister.
Hi. Oh, it was a love of his.
How's she doing, Coach?
Doing good. She's getting ready. I think we're going to go to Saratoga and...
Not a man who liked to just chill and relax.
Get me in the money.
Good to hear.
Thanks.
I wonder if this is the first time this footage is being released or being put out there.
Learning how to ride horses was strange to me because I've always been allergic to horses.
Oh, wow.
He was cast in Anna Karenina, and there were riding scenes. And he realized, if I'm going to do this and be on a horse, I have to do it for real.
Heard of this
He
movie.
injected himself with
Never heard of it.
antihistamine every day for months.
Ooh, damn. That's committed to a role.
If you look, that's actually me in the middle of the Hungarian national equestrian team doing steeplechase.
So he was Tom Cruise before Tom Cruise.
Yeah, in a way.
I was in the middle for a good reason, because if I was about to go, they could catch me and keep me on. My wife and I have riding in common. It's become a very central part of our life.
Wow.
He had such a self-deprecating, humble way of talking about himself.
He was an intense guy. He didn't do anything half-assed. You could not fail and quit. It was like, you try, you fail, you try harder.
I was getting to be a pretty good rider.
And third place, then written by Christopher Reeve.
Damn. Woo. Awesome.
Man.
It's Memorial Day weekend, 1995. My dad was competing in a cross-country horseback riding competition.
Oh, I actually don't know this whole story at all.
And my dad had been in London for some reason a few weeks before. We said goodbye, and I ran upstairs to, like, I guess, watch him walk away. And I remember him turning, I guess, instinctively, knowing I would do that. And, yeah, he gave this wave. That was the last time I saw him on his feet.
Oh, man.
Rumors have been flying since 42-year-old Christopher Reeve fell off a horse this past weekend. Well, tonight, many of the worst reports are true.
Today, we're hoping to get an update on Christopher Reeve's condition.
This was like national news.
I do remember this.
Millions of people around the world are praying and remembering tonight.
Yeah, because like even though he's just an actor, I imagine like reputation-wise, people viewed him outside of people viewed him as Superman, you know. So
we just kept trying to call and find out what was going on and was it true and how could that have happened. I mean, there was so much disbelief.
Matthew and I flew over with my mom. It was circus mode at that point.
God, the chaos of that. Everyone around him, I feel so bad for his family.
It wasn't clear what was going to happen.
His doctor met the press. The news is not encouraging.
Mr. Reeve currently has no movement or spontaneous respiration. He may require surgery to stabilize the upper spine in the near future.
You know, he almost died. His heart stopped.
He flatlined certainly twice.
What?
Jesus.
Wow.
Given basically a 50-50 chance of surviving to the end of the day.
Oh my God. Wow.
Jesus.
You think of your parents as completely invulnerable. And he was always so careful and so capable. And I mean, he was just dad, right? Like this constant that you never even have to think about.
Oh man, and then this like difficult time is just being publicized everywhere.
Exactly.
The surgery that they did on my dad had never been done before. They reattached his head to his body.
What? Whoa.
Virginia doctors now confirm that Christopher Reeve is indeed paralyzed and unable to breathe on his own.
Superman, crazy. Just that simple little thing over the horse, just crazy.
Like that.
Wow, you'd have to become like a Superman in real life. Persevere through this kryptonite.
I lay on my back, frozen, unable to avoid thinking the darkest thoughts, because it had dawned on me that I had ruined my life and everybody else's.
Whoa, oh, that is so
man.
sad.
The weight of that.
Won't be able to make love to Dana.
Oh my
Won't be able
God.
to throw a ball to Will. Won't be able to do a thing. This can't be me. Why me? There's gotta be a mistake. I'm an idiot. God, I'm trapped. No life. What am I gonna do? I'm like,
Yeah. Never thought about that. Like,
Yeah, because you were like
the psychological effect it has on you.
He was the man of his house, and he feels like he effectively can't be that role anymore.
witnesses said that Buck was absolutely willing and ready, that I was going not excessively fast. Apparently, Buck started to jump the fence, but all of a sudden, he just put on the brakes.
Oh, man.
Jesus Christ.
I landed right on my head, 6 feet 4 inches and 215 pounds of me.
Wow, to be watching that.
This break is what happens
that's
when
a
the
visual.
trap door opens and the noose snaps tight.
Oh,
What a
Half an inch to
visual
the left,
symbolism.
dead instantly.
Half an inch. It's the amount of rumination you'd be stuck with.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
2 weeks? Wow.
We had my 3rd birthday party outside the ICU.
Dana threw like a birthday party for Will.
She tried to keep things normal for Will, to try and protect him as much as she could.
Oh.
There was some fighting within the family. My dad's mom wanted to take him off life support.
Wow.
He has low moments. I think anybody with an injury as severe as his is bound to have low moments.
Actually, a similar facial outline structure.
Dana started crying. She said, I'm only going to say this once. I will support whatever you want to do because this is your life and your decision. But I want you to know that I'll be with you for the long haul, no matter what.
Oh, their wedding photo. Oh, that's so beautiful.
You're still you, and I love you.
Wow.
Wow, that is fucking love.
That is, yeah, man. That's real love. That's real love right there.
There was a sense of her being noble. I don't know if I could have pulled through.
Yeah.
You are still you, and we love you.
Oh, he had a Lois. That's so cool.
Everyone is devastated, but it was not without moments of grace. One that was just incredible was Robin Williams.
Didn't know that they were very
I'm
close.
Robin Williams, and if you don't know that,
Dad's roommate and had this deep relationship
Oh,
with
no
him
way.
going back so many years.
Yeah.
I think
know
Robin
that.
is one of the
That
great
was
human
one
beings
thing
that
I
was
know.
ever put here. I'm the godfather of his son and everything.
Really?
His wife, Marcia, became my mom's best friend and is like a sort of fairy godmother to me.
Really?
they'd just taken him off of the heavy sedation, and I think he was just coming back. And I came in and, as a Russian proctologist.
Let's make him La Patch Adams.
So this is...
No, well, they put me in scrubs, so I just had the face. And I said, if you don't mind, I'm going to have to put on a rubber glove and examine your internal organ. And I kind of said, oh, look at the size of this baby. And I saw he started to laugh because his eyes lit up, and he knew it was me.
My old friend had helped me know that somehow I was going to be okay. I mean, life's going to be very different.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And he had such a tragic ending too.
I think he and Robin were such good friends because they could match each other. I mean, Chris didn't have Robin's, but he could keep up with it.
Or somebody's fantasy.
Moments from my former life kept popping into my head. It was like a slideshow, but the pictures were all out of sequence. My most cherished memories, when I was whole, healthy, free.
Yeah.
It's like fragmented racing thoughts. I can't imagine.
After graduating from Cornell, I had planned to go to New York and join the ranks of young hopefuls trying for a career in the theater.
Juilliard is one of the best schools in the country, and
you and Robin Williams were classmates?
That's right.
Whoa, him with the
so
beard.
young.
To be Shakespearean actors in the English tradition, able to enunciate for no reason.
John Houseman had just won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. He said, Mr. Reeve, it is very important you become a serious classical actor, unless, of course, they offer you a load of money to do something else.
Good advice.
That the theater became a neutral kind of territory, but that felt like home.
That's wild. There's just all this footage of him, like probably
I'd grown up between two families,
not widely seen.
and neither one ever seemed truly secure.
That flexibility and mobility he's got. It's amazing.
Crucial.
Yeah. Helped him when he was Superman.
My father, the poet and scholar Franklin Reeve, courted my mother, Barbara Pitney Lamb, ardently. But there was a widening gulf between my parents when I was born.
When I was 3 years old, my parents got divorced, and there was a kind of acrimony between them that was really painful. It was sort of, you had to call out the National Guard to keep peace between them, you know? Franklin, even if he wasn't around, he played a big part in my dad's life.
I'm sure there was an element of, how do you satisfy the father that, in a sense, left you?
So there's this really charismatic man who could do anything from translating Dostoevsky to sailing a boat and chopping trees and playing tennis, and it was really scary. I thought, I'm never going to do anything to impress him,
Man, I feel like I had to live up to him.
I like knowing the entire storyline, beginning, middle, and end.
We were cast in the same play in 1977. He was just another
good-looking young actor. He had the whole movie star thing. You're going, oh, yeah, great. What really impressed me was
really
how smart
did.
he was.
Yeah, it does look like a
I
movie
ain't
star.
stupid. May have been in Dumb and Dumber, but I ain't stupid. In the play was another new
William
guy
Hurt?
named William Hurt. Second to last weekend, Chris says, I'm going to London tonight. I have to screen test for a movie. For someone to say that in an off-Broadway dressing room, it just, what? When? Where? Huh?
It's a big deal.
And Bill said, what movie? And Chris said, Superman.
Whoa, this is a chills.
And Bill went right into, don't go, you're going to sell out. And Chris said, no, Brando's going to play the father. I don't care. You're selling. I mean, he just really on it.
Did you say William Hurt said that?
I think so, yeah.
Then he ended up being
selling
in some Marvel films later on.
Casting director. I'd lined up.
Sometimes you need the money.
Many people, dozens of them. The most strange, like Neil Diamond wanted to be Superman.
Hey.
Interesting.
Robert
Could see
Redford,
that him singing
we
throughout
made
the
an
film.
offer, immediately got a no.
Immediately gotta know. Oh, so like super famous people were turning it down.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, comic book films at that time.
It's a great thing that they did.
Schwarzenegger was running after us.
Oh my god.
He had theoretically
That would have been interesting
the
to
physics
see.
of the comic book. You cannot have Superman saying truth, justice, and the American way. Rather than casting a well-known Superman, we should go for an unknown and have stars
right
around
choice.
him.
Smart.
Wow, they started that. Shit.
I took black shoe polish and we blacked his whole head. And this skinny little kid did a scene with various ladies.
Lethal Weapon director.
I mean, why are you here?
Oh my
I'm here
god.
to
Whoa. What?
For
Look at
justice
those
in
sweaty
the
pits.
American way.
He flew Sunday night, screen tested in London on Monday.
They definitely bulked up for the film.
Bill said, how'd it go? Chris said, I got it.
Damn.
Wow.
Life-changing.
I realized that if I could pull off this part, it would change my life.
It's urban myth in our family that Dad got the part of Superman and told his father, and Franklin ordered champagne.
Whoa.
Cheers, congratulations, so proud of you, da-da-da. There was a miscommunication.
His dad thought that he was talking about the famous play Man and Superman by George Bernard Shaw.
Oh no.
What?
Franklin didn't approve.
Wow. Oh my god.
How did he tell you that he got this part? It was after the contract was signed.
It was not serious enough. It wasn't academic enough. It wasn't intellectual enough.
God.
That is rough. How'd you turn out to be such a good dad?
I was extremely anxious to please my father. It was difficult to be myself, or literally breathe easy when he was around.
Man.
Play the ultimate inspiring embodiment of man while knowing in your personal life you're trying to please like that man.
Reeve took to the skies this afternoon. He was transferred from Charlottesville, Virginia to the Kessler Institute.
Wow, this documentary is such a good job because it thrusts you into that time that you're like, you forget about the horror that he went through.
The actor's last role was as a crippled policeman in the movie Above Suspicion.
The physical therapy nurses would work with me and say, this is how you get in and out of the bathtub. This is how you get in and out of a car.
Every time I left that rehab center, I said, thank God that's not me.
Ironic.
Because I was setting myself apart from those people who were suffering without realizing that in a second that could be me.
Literally a second.
After this idea of, will I live or die? Now what? What is life going to be like?
You think it's just about, oh, you can't move or you can't breathe, but there's so much shit that comes with such a high level of spinal cord injury.
Yeah, and the representation of the kryptonite on there is a great physical representation of that.
You can't feel
No, I can't feel it. No.
that is tough because I can feel him, but he can't feel me.
I couldn't take a single breath on my own. And the connections of the hoses on these ventilators are tenuous at best. And you lie there at 3 in the morning in fear of a pop-off when the hose just comes off the ventilator.
Oh.
After you've missed 2 breaths, an alarm sounds.
Oh my God.
And now they're saying, okay,
Where is everybody? Because they have no air going in, they can't even scream for help.
This was something that was shot at the time?
I think so, because it looked like it said Rear Window.
1998.
Little by little, I began to emerge from my isolation. I found myself talking in depth with people I wouldn't ordinarily have met.
Chris had just started to wean himself off the ventilator, and he started to recognize a little bit of success. And there was this one young boy who had tried to wean but failed.
Oh, man.
And I would try to speak to him and speak to his mom, but he was just adamant. He was so clear, I don't want to fail again. And Chris went and spoke to him. And the boy simply said, Christopher Reeve spoke to me. I'm going to wean.
Oh, cool. That's so cool.
And I wonder if a case like that made him think I can probably do more in helping other people with spinal cord injury.
Yeah,
And
myself alone.
and just kind of redefines his legacy of what he's able to do now. He's still able to be that Superman, but just in a different form.
Much of his day is spent listening to messages sent from well-wishers.
One letter from England, it just said, Superman USA.
And they would come every day in these delivery boxes.
Robert De Niro.
I started getting things organized and cut. So it was like other celebrity letters, famous scientists, politicians, nuts.
Oh, whoa.
200,000 people in the United States alone have the same problem as me.
Wow.
That's a lot.
If the public will demand that the politicians spend that little bit of money, make that investment, I'll be up and walking around again.
Wow.
You gotta be kidding me.
He had tremendous work ethic and would push himself.
It's like this large fragility.
He trained his ass off, bulking up, 2 weight sessions a day.
The guy actually who played Darth Vader,
David Prowse.
Dave Prowse, developed a program for me. He's a former Mr. Universe.
Oh, really? Okay.
The point is that when I started, I was a string bean, and Superman's not a string bean, so
You got in incredible shape.
nobody thought I was in my right mind.
Really?
Oh, they were gonna pull this picture off and make the man fly.
Well, again,
and
at that
it's
time, comic book
cartoon,
films,
and
yeah.
very skeptical about the whole thing.
He started that to look like a superhero, playing a superhero.
The head of production of Warner Brothers, who shall remain nameless, said it will never make a movie.
Huh. Little did he know.
The idea was new in 1977. Superman 1 was the first film
Whoa,
to try to make
cool.
this comic book sort of real.
Miraculous. True movie magic.
Seriously.
For
that
CGI,
many
we got so
capes.
much practical effects.
Brando playing with Hackman. Brando was considered the greatest actor of his time.
I think he was billed third in this film.
I was very gung-ho, 24 years old, and all excited.
24, wow.
This is California, the richest, most populous state in the Union. I don't need a geography lesson from you, Luther. Was it exciting to work
He
with?
really
Not
did embody that, huh?
Yeah, seriously.
Not really working with him.
Just, took the $2 million and ran,
Well, he's here tonight, Chris.
Oh,
wow, he was so transparent
he was like,
about
shit.
it.
He's like, shit, I shouldn't have said that.
He's so transparent.
He was taking it so seriously.
I appreciate that he
The
didn't
day
phone it
Superman
in.
needed to be art.
Everyone stand back, please. Stand back. It's all right. Nothing to get worried about.
That's why it became so big, because he didn't phone it in.
Yeah, he was a very genuine guy.
Hands down, he was Superman from day one.
See it in the screen test.
What I liked was trying to play two people at the same time,
he
Superman and Clark
excelled
Kent.
at
There's a
that.
kind of
Yeah.
calculated schizophrenia between the two of them.
Oh, interesting. Never heard it described that way.
He was playing Superman, playing Clark Kent. Kind of like takes his glasses off and he
stands up.
transforms.
Yeah. It's a great scene.
Yeah,
Oh,
man, the
so
body
subtle,
language
right?
of him is so
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I've missed this, man. I've missed
Yeah.
this so much.
No dialogue. Incredible.
And the music in the background just flows beautifully.
There's something I have to tell you. I'm really...
Back to Clark Kent.
I was.
Shrink back down, yeah.
It's incredible.
And the voice change,
the
too.
transformation's incredible.
I really think that out there, hopefully around the world, that romance is what they want to see.
Do you have that?
Oh, God, yes, but I found it. I'm very lucky. I met this girl while I was making Superman in London.
Seemed like such an optimist despite his upbringing.
Yeah, this man was hope. He embodied that through and through.
My mom and dad met in the lunch line at Pinewood Studios.
Oh, they filmed it at Pinewood. Cool.
The chap in front of me was wearing a robe and had black hair, and I thought it was Richard Keel from James Bond.
Oh,
wow.
And he was in
You
Happy
were way
Gilmore.
wrong. Yeah.
He needed something from the bit that I was at, and he turned round and he knocked me, and he said, "Oh, hello, excuse me, hello. You're supposed to say I'm sorry." And a few days later, I saw Dick Donner, and Dick said, "Oh, here she is. Hi, Gay, how are you doing?" And he said, "This is Christopher."
Oh, wow.
And Christopher just stopped and said,
But I was sorry, and the rest is history. I dragged myself to the set many a morning, and and up, and away.
just felt desperate in love. At the weekend,
Wow, so much
we
passion
were
in these
doing
shots.
all sorts of things that he should not have been doing, like gliding.
All the dangerous shit he was doing.
He's a risk taker. Was a daredevil. Like to do it all.
Thousands and thousands of feet up above the world. There's a kind of clarity that comes with that, and you cannot concentrate on anything that's wrong in your life.
And all you can hear is,
Oh, how meditative. It just sounds like so calm.
I've always loved flying. This is my #1 passion in life.
He was like literally born to be Superman.
Christopher was determined that come hell or high water, he was going to make it look like this character could fly.
That he did.
I didn't realize how involved he was in being determined to get that down.
There is a team, there's 100 of them, called the Flying Unit. They didn't have it all figured out in advance. It was a kind of learn-as-you-go process.
So much road on this.
The first time I ever saw Chris really fly, he came at camera, and for some reason, he actually banked his body, and he flew past us.
That shot. Yeah, that's a beautiful shot.
Man, amazing.
Camera stopped rolling. There was dead silence. Like 50 people all of a sudden started just cheer.
Amazing. Yeah.
It really made people believe a man could fly.
The flying happens in the eyes. It must happen as a state of mind.
You've never seen a man fly like that before.
I've never really thought about his performance in the flying. I've never thought about that.
And all that training he did at Juilliard too paid off.
He convinced me when I first met him that he would fly. He's also convinced me he'll walk again.
Oh,
man. It's the type of belief and faith he inspired in people. It's just incredible, man.
This is a few months. Yeah, 7 months.
I began to face my new life. I tried to cover up my feelings as best I could.
Damn, the back and forth between his
I was
origin and
just
this is so
thinking that.
fucking hard. Yeah, damn. Wow, that is hard.
Yeah, the start of his new life and how he inspired people.
Yeah, the parallels they're drawing, really strong. Yeah.
People often ask me what it's like to be confined to a wheelchair. I would say the worst part of it is having to make the transition from participant to observer.
Dad was 42 when he had the accident, and Will was almost 3. I'm 42 right now, and my son's 3.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really only after becoming a parent myself that it really
You have to
hit
think, Will,
home
as far as
how
he
hard
knows,
it
that's
must
like
have been for him.
all he really remembered his dad as, I'm sure, or like in that form.
Well, there's so much activity you can't participate with your kids in.
My mom, she was doing everything. She was playing the role of mother, physical father, and caregiver to a husband.
That's be so hard as a father and as a man, just not being able to do the things you feel like you're supposed to.
Do we long for our other life? Yes, every day. I mean, it's a drastic change.
But you keep on persevering.
He needed 24-hour nursing care.
His care was running around $400,000 a year. While they were better off than most, they weren't better off as most people thought.
No,
Our insurance cap, as a matter of fact, will run out in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people in Chris's condition go right to nursing homes.
Terrible.
With on a respirator, it's people can't afford it.
I was gonna say, what do most people do in that?
In February of '96, I was asked to make a special appearance on the Academy Awards.
It was almost a full year since his accident, and I think that's a hard invitation to turn down.
I think I saw this.
Dad described how torn he felt about doing it because it really was such a public moment. This thing is being telecast to 2 billion people around the world.
It's probably the first time
it was. Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's probably the first time he's publicly come out since his accident.
It was a production just to get my dad out of the house. But Robin and Marcia bought us the specialized retrofitted van. You need to be physically tied down to the floor.
Whoa. Oh, my goodness.
I felt I needed to do something, not just for myself, but for everyone else in the same condition.
That idea of like just turning from not just thinking about himself, but servicing other people is so goddamn moving. I can't get over it.
It was time for me to prepare to go on stage. I wondered, would I spasm? My body jerking into an awkward position? Would I have a pop-off?
Oh my God, the anxiety of this. And you're just stuck there. You can't move and like shake off the anxiety. You gotta work all through your med.
That's a standing ovation moment.
Yeah.
He wanted to be Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah. The love and respect for this man. Incredible.
Aw.
Robin. Oh, man.
Everyone's applied just looking at his friend.
What you probably don't know is that I left New York last September, and I just arrived here this morning. And I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't have missed this kind of welcome for the world. Thank you.
The strength to have to deal with lots and lots of people trying not to look at you with pity.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, this is 100% what I was thinking about.
For people with disabilities to be so visible
Yeah.
was almost unheard of at the time.
Yeah, it's bringing awareness to a big issue.
Robin, this is his first appearance. This must make you feel good to know that he's getting out like this.
Yeah, it does.
Damn. See Robin be
soft
serious
answer.
and vulnerable like that? Wow.
I met cooks, waiters, and maintenance crews along the way. Many of them said they were praying for me.
Oh, man.
We love you, Superman. You're our hero.
Oh, wow.
To hear that from so many people.
Unable to move below my shoulders and dependent on the support of others had not diminished the fact that I was, and always would be, their Superman.
Of course. Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah, man. You're a hero, man.
Love that he touched so many people's hearts in cinema, and now people are touching his heart when he needs them. It's like very cathartic.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me. Who's got you?
That still works so well.
They all thought it was going to be a joke. We, the filmmakers, felt we could win our way into people's hearts, and we did.
Wow, it's so hard for me to like go back to that idea. I'm so used to today.
Superman did $425 million.
Damn, that's like $1 billion today.
Yeah, today, back then, yeah.
Mega hit.
The film critics said the young actor chosen to play the lead in Superman is the best reason to see the movie.
Yeah, his performance was unbelievable.
I saw it. I wish I had been Lois. Clearly, that would have been fun.
I don't think I was lustful like that.
That's true.
Until I
Stayed
saw
warm.
him in that, little outfit.
For the Superman opening, even the President of the United States is here.
Whoa. Dang. Huge deal.
He and Robin were walking down the street, and Robin's going, God, I love this city. Nobody bothers you. They don't know who we are. And I'm trailing behind, and everybody's going like, did you see who that was?
Superman and Batman!
Yeah, years later it would be Superman and Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Are you feeling like a star?
I really don't know much about it. I'll tell you more in a year.
And you're enjoying it, though, aren't you? It's
Are
fun.
you kidding? Fantastic.
Love how honest he is and transparent.
I was very happy for my friend in a way that maybe you aren't with others. Usually it's you. I hate him.
That's so funny.
As he became more and more famous, Gay gave him a security and an anchor and a support through that.
Sure.
Listen, if Gay hadn't been around, really, the temptations were enormous. My God. Not only do they think I'm an actor in a lead movie, but they think I'm Superman, for God's sake. You just can't do wrong.
He's very like well read. Like the way he speaks is so hyper intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense given his upbringing and the type of father he had.
Yeah.
Superman 2.
Are there things that you'd like to make sure that Matthew has that maybe you never...
I imagine part of that well-spokenness was like probably stems from an insecurity of wanting to please his father or impress him.
This won't happen to him.
Trying to right the mistakes that he felt his father.
There's evidence that I impersonated him. I called myself Superman.
And he'd go like this everywhere.
Don't play games with me, General.
Outside? Superman, thank God. I mean,
A lot of critics said it was a better movie than number one.
Oh, really?
I don't agree.
I still like the first one better, but I still like the second one.
My earliest memories are from when I went to set with Dad and
Superman
was actually
3?
playing Superman myself.
Oh, really?
Wow.
20 years from now, what do you hope will have happened to you?
that I would have tackled an increasing variety of roles with greater and greater depth all the time, and that I would have moved into directing.
All these dreams.
And action.
And you just still.
Oh,
What? Oh my God.
That's incredible.
Were you scared? I mean, this was the first thing you had directed, am I right?
Nothing scares me anymore.
Hell yeah. Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah, you
not
love it.
dramatic at all, dude. You flatlined.
He said, listen, I have something I want to know if you'd be interested in doing. And I was like, yes. And he said, but you don't know what it is. I said, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, yes.
I'm going close.
I was stunned by his readiness to go out and be proactive, to be able to direct, to be able to act even.
Whoa, John Kerry.
Oh, I didn't know he was friends with John Kerry.
Rear Window was his first time in an acting role after the accident.
I see. Okay, so it's like a full-on movie.
One of my missions really is to make people more aware of the disabled, less afraid to look at the disabled, and this movie in a sneaky way, I think, accomplishes that.
Less afraid. Never looked at it in that perspective.
And he brought awareness too. Yeah.
Just imagine what it's like to be me for one day. And I have it better than most people with spinal cord injuries.
Man, probably the biggest person at the time to normalize things that weren't traditionally considered the norm, especially within Hollywood.
Live coverage of the Democratic National Convention.
Superman was a Democrat.
Over the last few years, we've heard a lot about something called family values. I think it means that we're all family and that we all have value.
Simple but poignant.
1 in 5 of us has some kind of disability. You may have an aunt with Parkinson's disease, a neighbor with a spinal cord injury, and if we're really committed to this idea of family, we've got to do something about it.
Oh my God, did he just like wing it or something?
Such a great man, dude. Just a great person.
Well, it feels more real that he's winging it rather than reading a speech. Or
There he was, Superman.
Oh, right,
was
in the
so
fourth movie.
big
Yeah.
and powerful and invincible, and the other was so
Didn't even think about
now
that.
vulnerable.
Yeah, in the fourth movie addresses the United Nations.
I love the mirror that they're doing here. Seeing it the way how people would see it.
That combination moved mountains. So it was.
Oh, man.
America does not let its needy citizens fend for themselves.
Makes me see Superman 4 in a whole different light now.
So that Superman picture came out.
Wow.
People considered you Superman? Oh, everybody's looking for a hero. Everybody, not just 5-year-olds. That was a part. I played the part. I'm not that man.
You are that man.
Outside of Superman, he seems to have chosen very opposite roles, like Somewhere in Time, which was extremely romantic.
Really try breaking free from it.
Yeah, he didn't want to be typecast.
Then he did Death Trap
Kiss
with
Michael Caine?
Michael Caine.
Oh.
Death Trap.
Then he was a crooked priest.
I gotta watch more of his films. I only saw a couple.
None of the films he did outside of Superman were successful commercially.
But yeah, you do Superman, so you can't afford to do those ones that are more emotionally resident as an actor.
Mr. Reeve looks like a helium-filled canary. One more movie like this and it's back to the Cape forever.
Yeah, because that disapproval from the public only probably brings up that feeling of disapproval from his father.
You take what grossed $100 million domestically last year and then try to pump it up a few more times. Of course, the quality is a sliding scale of diminishing returns.
How's it changed?
I love this scene.
In the back of his mind, he thought this might not be as good. He was struggling.
Yeah, I can only imagine Christopher Reeve on set of this film.
Everyone should be allowed in life to close the door on certain times and open other doors.
It's interesting how they kind of gave up on like the black hair thing. Like, yeah, it's gonna be brown.
Some in the audience were so surprised to see Chris kiss a man. Someone yells out, "Say it ain't so, Superman!"
Oh my God.
It's acting.
Right.
He wanted to prove to everyone that he was a good actor.
Mm.
And I don't think he had the chance to find out. You're Superman.
Oh, man. That must have been really hard, you know. The public limits you because of just how big that role is.
When Superman 4 came along, I think he thought, I don't think I should be doing this.
People in their 30s look so much younger in the 70s and 80s.
He was one of the biggest movie stars in the world, but by the time I was 10, he was kind of doing like TV movies of the week to pay the bills.
I understand.
Yeah.
Oh, so much of his identity was linked to the career.
We were living in London. We had the apartment in New York, and we talked about maybe he should just go over to America for a while.
Yeah.
I think he was testing the water to see what it was like to be single. He came back to London for a while. He says, this isn't going to work, is it?
Dismissing the camera.
Maybe it was time that we went our separate ways.
Oh, that love is still there.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like what she wanted. Maybe at the time, but like, yeah, it's still hard.
It was hard on my mom.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, yeah, this isn't working out for the both of us. I think he was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I think that was hard for her.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy when things are good.
Hard for him, too.
Yeah.
You know, my dad had a big issue. He would not commit. Every marriage he'd seen in his own family life had failed. He had no experience with a successful, healthy, long-term marriage.
Lives repeat themselves in succeeding generations, often in the worst ways. And patterns of behavior can be difficult to break.
They didn't really have like therapy and all that shit either as much. Like it was there, but not as prevalent as it is now.
Right.
He was away so much anyway. It wasn't like he suddenly stopped picking me up from school every day or something like that. It was just...
He became a little distant.
He kind of stopped coming home.
Yeah.
For most of my childhood, she was effectively a single mom. So the day after I was born, he flew to France and went skiing with friends.
Oh, wow.
Repeating his father's mistakes, being neglectful.
I mean, I do respect for them showing how great he was. I do respect them for showing the not so glamorous aspects of.
I'm sure they're showing it because he learned from it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
When you've done a role like Superman, people tend to put you up on a pedestal. They tend to think you are that person, and that morally you are that person.
Yeah, a lot of pressure there,
A letter
too.
sent to me from clergymen saying you must think about your religious responsibility. Superman is a pop culture version of Jesus Christ. I'm going, wait a minute.
Yeah, a lot put on you.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do all the time.
I'm just a man, right? I'm just a guy playing a role.
I am not a hero. Never have been, never will be.
From Superman to an extraordinary man. But yeah, it's like that tumultuous relationship that formed with Superman over time.
To people who are watching from hospital beds, any place where they feel shut in, help is on the way.
Love that Robin stood by him so much.
Chris started the foundation. It was called the Christopher Reeve Foundation. He's like, you're executive director. I'm like, okay.
We are here to help my friend, and 250,000 other people can get back on their feet again.
Man.
Ambitious, I like it.
He understood the importance of advocacy. He was an advocate before his injury.
Amazing. Amazing.
Chris was serious about pursuing the environmental issues and also human rights issues.
We would go to D.C. Occasionally, Chris flew us in an airplane, not on his back.
Adaptation what I used to do politically, taking all those contacts I made in Washington.
Yeah, because I'm sure you felt like a sense of responsibility. You have the platform to fight for the things that you believe in, and people listen because of the role you played.
After meeting with President Clinton, he was told
There will be a $10 million increase in funding specifically for spinal cord injury.
Wow. That's incredible.
Amazing.
It wasn't enough, though, huh?
One of the areas that he really believed in was stem cell research.
I was just about to say that.
Chris would get all excited. He's like, it's going to change science. It's going to change people's lives.
I wonder what developments they've made since his passing and stem cells in relation to what he was fighting for.
My dad was obsessed with tomorrow's cure. He would have been the first for any human trial.
Man.
Wow.
disabled groups have reacted angrily to a commercial in which the paraplegic actor Christopher Reeve is made to get out of his wheelchair and walk using computer technology.
Oh.
It's an inspiring message.
The concept of cure is a very, very dicey one in the disability community. Cure connotes the fact that there's something wrong.
They're wrong, yeah.
I absolutely thought it was the right thing to do. I think he could do whatever the flip he wanted to do. The guy got up every day fighting for everybody.
Yeah.
Someone once said, oh, you give people false hope. Chris said, there's no false hope, there's only hope.
Oh, jeez.
And they said he didn't care about people living with a disability, only he wanted out of his chair.
They're so used to being in a chair they can't imagine anything else.
Yep.
And I sympathize with that, but I'm not going to buy into it.
That's when Dana stepped in, and she's like,
Toxic optimism?
That's how we started the Quality of Life program at the Reeve Foundation. I'd like to introduce Dana Reeve. I must say she's the heart and soul of this resource center.
I mean, it was an accident, though, you know? Like, wasn't born this way.
Yeah.
Where Dana comes in is today's care.
She rescued me when I was lying in Virginia with a broken body, but that was really the second time. The first time she rescued me was the night we met.
Oh.
He's going through his single phase. He actually married her.
Yeah. Well, the same year that his final Superman film came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was June 1987, and right at one of the front tables sat a movie star.
She was warned against me. The word was, look out, he's on the prowl. I guess I had a reputation of...
Love him and leave him?
A little bit, yeah. This is in the old days.
Oops.
She goes, it's Christopher Reeve. Like, oh, you're dating Superman? I had lots of questions, which I never mind.
You know what those questions were.
I gotta tell you that anybody out there who has not been involved in an old-fashioned romance, it's thrilling.
I've done that.
Yep. Totally.
They went at night and something about a pond and them going in and waiting and their first kiss under the stars.
I like how they're paralleling it with his relationship with Lois Lane.
That was the way I saw the evening. But to hear Chris tell it, I was walking along.
We couldn't see 50 yards. Bad. Yeah, it was inside of milk bottle time. Anyway.
How much film do we have? We're only on day one.
It is so playful, man.
With Chris, it was the excitement of the pieces of his life that she really matched him with.
Yeah, they really match each other's energy.
Oh, that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible.
I think from the time it was fully over with my mom and the night he first met Dana, it was like 5 months. I do remember meeting Dana for the first time. I didn't really know like who she was or why we were meeting her. Firstly, her smile. Like, it's just this really warm, bright smile.
We haven't seen her in present day, so I'm guessing she's not with us anymore?
She's not.
Oh.
He was his sunshine from day one. You know, she was 26 years old. Like, what a world to come in and suddenly have, you know, a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old hanging out with you.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote to me and she said, your children are amazing.
Wrote to her.
But I'm not going to be a stepmother. I want to be their friend. So I wrote back and said, you know, thank you, really appreciate that. Look out for Alexandra. She's the only girl there.
That was a classy move to write her like that.
There was a real attempt by Dana to make sure that the kids were around as much as possible. You have to decide that you're going to do that. That doesn't happen naturally.
I didn't realize Susan Sarandon was like this close.
And she was also the one, my dad was very competitive and he didn't necessarily slow down.
Like when we'd go skiing, you know, we'd all go up in the chairlift together and then he'd like, you know, bomb down the hill and wait for us at the bottom.
Got a little English accent.
I put much less pressure on my children than my father put on me.
Probably because of that pressure. You're like, I don't want to be like him.
She was so kind from minute one, as was her whole family. Warm and welcoming and not knocking my own family on the Reeve side, but...
It's finally only in this relationship with Dana where I began to see marriage is a freedom.
Aw. She helped broaden his horizons.
We got married 5 years later. The I commit part took a little while to work itself out. One person laughing,
He's
the rest
funny.
of you are all like, I know.
That was me on your wedding day, Greg.
I know. You went to Colorado. I appreciate it.
Gonna start a family? Got the whole thing planned?
Yeah, well, actually, we have a son on the way.
So
coming
you've
late
sort
in
of
June.
started the family.
We have started the family.
Will.
We were talking in the office. He was so angry and he said, I wish I could do something.
It's 2001, wow.
And it was where you would normally gesture. And I was noticing that when he would do it, he would go, you know, his finger would move.
Wow.
Dad started regaining elements of movement.
Wow, really?
And they were small, but so meaningful.
Wow.
That's incredible. He's a man of determination.
Seriously.
My spirits rose with the possibility that I was on the road to recovery.
Yeah, you take those small wins when you can get them.
Yeah.
You do have to learn to walk the fine line between hope without expectation.
I know.
Oh, God, yeah.
I know. I know all about that.
As soon as you start expecting something, the disappointment is so much more ferocious.
But the strength of the muscles weren't present to give him enough ability to wean off completely.
Jeez. Damn. Oh, that's sadness.
He wanted to give people hope, but it was really hard, and he did not show that to the world.
Kept it guarded.
It's easy to sink into a depression, and you have to get him out. We had a list of people we'd call if we weren't good enough. We called Brother Robin.
Such a great friend he was. Always by his side.
Another thing that Robin and Marcia did was that on the anniversary of the accident, every year they would get a chef at Chris and Dana's house and have a great party.
Oh.
Made it into a point of celebration and appreciate life.
That's beautiful.
Very beautiful.
That is a wild maneuver, man.
We laugh as much as ever, but we hardly ever talk about disability. We hardly ever talk about the chair.
Just treats him like he's normal.
Yeah.
Robin also had struggles that he dealt with his whole life, and I think that they're, despite the way they look and their facade, that they both were aware of darkness.
Oh, I mean, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, Chris's level of injury was so dramatic and so severe. I just think it's a lonely existence.
Yeah.
Which must have been hell for him, and must have been hell for my mom, too, knowing the man she fell in love with had this whole part of him taken forever.
Yeah.
I found this in one of her journals.
A journal?
I've been studying the difference between solitude and loneliness. Telling the story of my life to the clean white towels taken warm from the dryer and held to my chest, a sad substitute for a body pulled in close.
Oh my God.
Ouch.
The whole man took his last walk away from me 5 years ago today, leaving only mind, soul, heart, and heartache behind.
Right.
I think of him in certain lights: dawn, late afternoon, bright windy days that would be perfect for sailing. I miss most even now his hands.
Just a touch.
The expressive grace and heft of them, the heat of his hands on my skin, the wrap of his arms, two becoming one.
That's a lot on her, too.
I carry the stack of towels upstairs, carefully cradling them so as not to let them tumble, save one, still damp. The top one I had pressed against my face, which needs more time for drying.
She was a poet, man. Man, really sad.
Incredible woman.
She was enduring. That's what she had lost when my dad got hurt.
Yeah. But the fact she chose to stay and stand by him, though, that's incredible.
I thought it would be a good thing for me to tell one really good story about a family dealing with a devastating event.
Oh, okay. Did an interview.
The phone rang, and it was a man saying, I have Christopher Reeve here on the line.
Okay, I'm understanding this now.
And he said, I have long wanted to tell the story as somebody who lived with ventilator-dependent quadriplegia.
Her mind is sharp as a razor.
Right.
And the devotion and loyalty of her family is totally amazing. She applied to Harvard, and she got in.
Hell yeah.
That's amazing.
Her mother, Jean,
Incredible.
when they lived together, Brooke graduated with a degree in neuroscience.
Wow.
That's amazing. Incredible.
Both my mother and I have learned so much from all of you. What we hope you can learn from us is to take no one in your life for granted.
What we really hope you can learn from us is to take no one in your life for granted.
Oh, they made a movie about it. Oh, I didn't know that. I want to see that movie now.
There was a huge shift in my dad from the time after the accident.
His entire approach to parenting changed. He started really to see us and to connect to us as people.
Being together and talking was far more valuable and meaningful than doing all this crazy physical activities.
Oh my God, the little simple things.
I traveled everywhere, and you realize that is not the definition or the essence of your existence. What is the essence are the relationships.
Oh man, I take so much for granted.
Seriously. Same.
Taught me how to ride a bike.
If someone had told me before my injury that you could teach a kid to ride on his own just by talking to him, I would have said that that was impossible.
Man.
Language can be our most powerful weapons.
Matthew Exton Reeve.
It was the accident that brought us closer together, without a shadow of a doubt.
Even became closer with her.
For the first time since the accident, I see my life as a continual timeline instead of before and after, being on my feet and being seated.
Whoa.
It's all part of the total story.
Things were good. Things were going well enough that Dana actually took a play in California, leaving Dad and Will at home.
Oh, really?
She had like 2 nights off. She came home. We had a very totally informal just dinner.
She still did her arts and stuff. That's so cool.
Things were good, and then they weren't.
What?
I came home. Our favorite baseball team were playing in the playoffs, so I would rub his head for good luck. At some point after midnight, my bedroom door slammed open, and it was the nurse on duty.
What?
Your dad has fallen into a coma.
Oh my God.
It was the middle of the night, and it was Dana calling. She just said, Al, it's really serious. You need to go home now.
Both Michael and I go in. Chris is unconscious, and we just start holding his hand, chatting with him.
The hope was that they would somehow turn it around, but he just wasn't stable. His body would keep crashing.
Oh, Jesus.
I think he died 3 or 4 times that day.
What?
Oh, my God.
And the doctors kept him alive. They kept resuscitating him to make sure that Dana got there.
Oh.
Jeez.
And then in front of me steps my mom.
She came flying in, and she just yelled, I love you.
Oh,
I love
whoa.
Oh, my God.
Over and over again, making sure he could hear it. She was going to reach him.
Certainly a part of her had just died in that moment as well. I told him that I loved him. I would do whatever I could to make him proud.
And then he was gone.
Wow, that seems so sudden.
Yeah.
I was in the back of a taxi on my way to the hospital when my sister called me and said he was gone.
Oh, God.
Jeez.
Good morning, everyone. Christopher Reeve is being remembered this morning as a courageous and inspirational person who provided hope to millions of people.
Aww.
Condolences are still pouring in around the world today for Christopher Reeve, 2 days after his death at the age of 52.
Well, we're like a celebrity funeral. Weird.
We knew this day was coming. You know it's coming at some point. It's inevitable. But we've gotten so used to Chris just outliving everything.
So young, too, man. Said Robin, yeah.
Just have to water the stem cells there for a moment. But I've always considered him basically my brother. I was his fool, but that's it. Someone's got to do it. As ordered and as all things were that he knew were precise, I was chaos for him.
I've always felt if Chris was still around, Robin would still be alive.
Oh, man.
I believe that.
I made a vow to Chris when we married that I would love him and I would be with him in sickness and in health. And I did okay with that.
Yeah.
There's another vow that I need to amend today. I promised to love, honor, and cherish him till death did us part. Well, I can't do that because I will love, honor, and cherish him forever. Goodbye to you.
Holy shit.
Household just feels so empty now without him.
After my dad died, it was just me and my mom. It felt strange.
We gave the van to a boy in New Hampshire.
Oh.
Absolutely changed his life because he couldn't go anywhere before that.
Wow.
Really? Whoa.
It was hard because the foundation lost its biggest advocate, its biggest magnet. Dana stepped in and helped fill that void.
Yeah.
She was so full of life and full of hope that while she had lost a part of her soul when my dad died, I think she stayed true to her belief that there's not enough time in the day for self-pity and you got to get on with things.
Yeah.
A Broadway composer asked her to sing.
It feels like it's maybe just a little tight.
I think it's from my.
And she had this little cough.
Oh no.
She couldn't figure out what was going on.
Oh,
Does she have a similar infection?
I was like, Dana, we're getting you to a doctor. And sure enough, came back lung cancer.
What?
We got their first results. And Michael called me up and he's like, did you guys go to like Labs R Us? Like, no, we're going to a real lab.
The diagnosis was stage 4 non-small cell.
Oh, God.
That diagnosis less than a year after we lost my dad.
Oh, this poor individual.
Dana was so brave. I mean, she was just like, okay, I'll do whatever I need to do. Because the last thing on this planet she was going to do was leave that kid. It wasn't going to happen.
Oh.
What are you most proud of?
He's sitting right there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm most proud of.
Matthew moved home and was unbelievable. He was acting as a dad, he was acting as a brother, as a best friend. He took care of me, and he took care of my mom. And
that's awesome.
Dana had sat us down and she made it very clear kind of what she had in mind for, should anything happen to her.
I think we were all in denial.
You know, I don't know what it is with that family and hope, but.
God, a year?
I was married to a man who never gave up.
She got sick pretty quickly.
96.
Marsha Williams put us up in a hotel in New York. Matthew, Al, and I in a room. I was on the cot. At some point, the phone rings with the news that my mom had died.
That is so unfortunate. My God.
Being awake, pretending I was asleep because I didn't want to face it.
Yeah, man. Been there.
And so I waited for the sun to rise and then shook him on the shoulder, and we told him.
So in 18 months, Will lost his dad, his grandmother, who he was really close to, and his mom.
Despite the love my siblings provided me and my family provided me, and that was the moment, March 6th, 2006, that was, I've been alone since then.
Since then.
Man, goddamn.
You can say either the universe is totally random, and it's just molecules colliding all the time, and it's totally chaos. And our job is to make sense of chaos. Or you can say sometimes things happen for a reason.
Sometimes things happen for a reason.
My dad and my mom and their values, the way that they were, the role models, through their words and their actions, their unwavering love and support and encouragement.
There's like nothing like it.
My brothers and I joined the board almost immediately after Dana passed away to help give continuity of the family.
Wow.
It is now the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation.
Oh, cool. Yeah, absolutely.
It's appropriate.
Both Chris and Dana did a really good job because now these children aren't children anymore, and look at what they're doing.
That's amazing.
56.5 million Americans living with disability.
Over $130 million in funding to labs around the globe.
Shit, we gotta donate.
People who became disabled after Chris are literally walking because of him.
Still bringing people hope even after life.
Yeah, man.
The Christopher and Dana Reeve Paralysis Act is the first piece of comprehensive legislation specifically aimed at
Whoa.
Man.
Damn. So much I am so do not know about.
I didn't know either, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When the first Superman movie came out, the most frequently asked question was, what is a hero?
Huh.
My answer was that a hero is someone who commits a courageous action without considering the consequences. Now my definition is completely different. I think a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles.
Yeah.
Good definition.
Oh, it's ended up with that shot.
Appropriate way to end it.
Wow. That was beautiful. I was late enough for this video to say, and if you have to censor it, this movie fucked me up. It was so good. Oh wow, that was incredible.
Do you guys think there's a post-credit scene?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Rick Flags at the end.
Tied in a Creature Command. Reject Nation, I'm here to interrupt this video just for a little bit to let you know that for a limited time at rejectnationshop.com, we have exclusive apparel, just like the one I am wearing right now on my body. This is the Reject sweater, the brainchild of the She-Jecks, Tara Erickson and Roxy Stryer. They really were like, you know, we don't want to just only do a Christmas one. We want it to be a full holiday celebration. I absolutely love this design. I've been wearing this sweater an awful lot wherever I go. It's a fantastic thing for you to gift yourself or to gift to someone else this holiday season. And the other things that were launched were the brainchild of one Aaron Alexander, something that I was jealous that I never thought of, and that is the Starbucks coffee. They got the Starbucks hoodie. They got the Starbucks coffee mug. There's also the Rejects mug as well. There's also, in addition to that, the Agatha Bruce hoodie. I absolutely adore all these designs. I am so impressed with the three of them we're able to concoct, along with the amazing artists who help support them, of course. We really care about finding material that fits very comfortable. Is it comfortable or comfortably? Language. And on top of that, too, designs that we really feel resonate with us and can also resonate with those who watch us. You beautiful Reject citizens. There's a barcode here that you could scan if you want to go to the shop, or you can go to rejectnationshop.com. Treat yourself or treat someone else. Either way, it's a great way to support the channel and to support your wardrobe collection. All right. So we just watched Superman, the Christopher Reeve Story, and really learning what it's like to be a hero.
Yep.
Aaron ruined the movie for everyone the whole time with all his jokes.
Yep.
Thanks, Aaron.
Like, we're not watching Glory, man.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Oh my.
But no, this is a triumph of a documentary here of just really showing what an individual is. Andrew, why don't you go first, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, besides the fact that I, of course, knew he was Superman, I did not know, and that he was friends with Robin Williams. That's really the extent I knew about Christopher Reeve. So getting to learn, first of all, about the broken household that he came from and his father, and that, you know, nothing he ever did was good enough, and that he kind of passed on some of those demons, so to say, like to him in his own household a little bit. You know, I found that to be very tragic for him. And he kind of like wanted to right those wrongs rather. And I found that to be very fascinating about just the product of where we grow up. You know what I mean? And just also just the type of frequent human being that he was in general. Like, he was a very active human being, like whether it was skiing, whether it was boating or sailing, whether it was flying on a plane or whatever. Like, he lived a very active lifestyle. And obviously when this accident happened, you know, it really, like, for the fact that obviously he was paralyzed, of course, that tore him and his whole family. But like, he couldn't do anything, and like the psychological effect it has on you just because you can't do anything of the activities. You can't be, you know, what you were, you know, in your everything you'd been led up to that point in your life, whether it be a father, a husband, just everything activity wise, like that is gone now, and you have to like deal with that fact and like realize like this is now your life. And I think like the psychological effects that has on a human being, and that he was able to endure and survive that and still push on. Like, I think that just says the incredible human being that he was, and the perseverance that he had. And I found that to be rather inspiring. Like, no matter the circumstances, he was willing to just always push through. And also like the incredible support system that he had from a family and friends was just incredible. And I think that also speaks to the type of human being he was. Like, that he had you know, I mean, also too, he was so lucky to have met Dana. I mean, she easily could have just like, once he was paralyzed, like that would have been a situation that could have been like many people could have just walked away from. Like, I don't have, like, my husband's basically gone. He's a vegetable at this point. So I think that I'm so happy that he met such an incredible woman. Very sad, obviously, with what happened to her as well. But I'm so happy that he had someone that stood by him in his darkest hours. And I also found it very fascinating, too, and then I'll let you guys get going because I don't want to take away too many talking points. But I found it very fascinating, too. Like, it talked about the dark stuff that he had to deal with his father, that through his accident, he found it a way to connect with people. Through that, I found that to be very fascinating. Like, through his activities, he thought that was going to be a way that he could connect with people. But he found, like, oh my God, I had to be in a wheelchair to start connecting with people, start talking with people and using that. And I found that to be rather interesting. I'm like, wow. So it took an accident for that to happen and to, like, really, get more humanity out of him in that. So it's sad, but also interesting as well. But there's just a lot more I want to say, but I'll let you guys go from here.
Yeah. What's up, bud?
So
No, I thought this film was incredible. Seeing the triumph of the human spirit kind of go through the obstacles of something that's so, life changing, and seeing the juxtaposition between how he started at the rise of Superman, and then after having the accident, and watching those two different versions of how he affected the world, or those two different periods in his life of how he affected the world. But, and then seeing how that affected him in his own psyche, and then seeing him be Superman for the world and Superman for his family. And then having that be the basis of how he becomes a different kind of Superman for the world, and fighting for something that is kind of, I guess, not at the time as fought for or widely as publicized. And yeah, it was just very inspiring and heartfelt and heartbreaking at the same time, because he was fighting for all these things, but I can only imagine being a man so active and the face of something that is larger than life. You inspire people by the goodness that you present into the world, by being this hero and believing that a man can fly, and then having going from, like, the physical peak of human perfection to then not really having your body as a tool to aid you in whatever other external things that you're trying to accomplish with good, by using that platform that's been established for you. Mm-hmm. And seeing him go through that internal struggle of ruminating over, like, the things he could have done differently, and, like, him having to reevaluate what it means to serve it, to be of service, to be not only of your family, but to the world, but the basis of that would be, like, what does it mean to now be a father? What does it mean to now be a husband? What does it mean to now be a man? Because all the things you associate traditionally with masculinity are now taken away from you. And then to find new definition of what that is in your current state was just really, really powerful, because there are all kinds of ways a man can change the world. And then having him, like, fight for this thing, but secretly kind of want to beat it at the same time, only adds that sense of tragedy. But I think the fact that his will and his light on the world was able to inspire such optimism and a sense that change is possible, or that life can still be, and have that endure long, almost going on 20 years past his passing, is still incredible. And just speaks to whether it was intentional or in mind at the time, the power of change, the power of someone's own self-belief, and the power of legacy, because his own family has persevered and continued on for this fight. And we're just now starting to see the changes and the ripple effects of what he fought for while he was still with us. So Yeah, I like Andrew have more to say, but I want to give it over to Greg now.
I got nothing to say. So,
That's great.
If
We
you
took
guys
it all.
want to continue talking. It's totally fine with me.
Yeah, and this movie moved me. It made me feel things. You guys probably don't see me cry too often on this page, but I definitely resonated with a lot of stuff that was in this movie. So yeah, touched me in the heart and in the brain, and then just kind of made me reflect upon my own life. So yeah, that's
I thought you were crying because that store you wanted to go to closed early today, and you weren't able to get there.
Yeah, I mean that too, you know, and it just the movie was reminding me of that because I'm like, damn it, I'm not gonna make it. But I was crying because of how hungry I am. You know? When am I gonna get fed? That's the real tragedy here. That's the real story here. But
yeah, no, it was obviously a beautiful story. I think the bookend that they have there with saying sometimes things happen for a reason, and it's our job to look for a reason. If that is a philosophy that you subscribe to, then this movie is absolutely the emblematic version of what that means. Because when you look at this identity of Christopher Reeve, at least what this documentary illustrates here, he's a man who did not get approval from his father, and he seemed like he sought a lot of that through external validation through his career because he can never get approval from his dad. But in the midst of all that, even in those career ambitions, when he was going up against Superman, he was constantly being told by everyone around him, like, you shouldn't do this. This isn't a good idea. And he put his all in to that. From the appreciation of the Superman level to go from, hey, there's like little things even in that I just like totally took for granted. Even this concept of how much his involvement was there to really making you believe a man can fly. Like when they give him credit for that, like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was the actor there, but I never really thought of like, oh, but the performance behind the flying and everything he learned technicality wise, because they hadn't really quite accomplished that, of how he had to give all the stories to chalk that up to like, but that's like a visual thing. That's a technicality thing. That's not really a Christopher Reeve thing, is it? I took that for granted. But in the midst of that, he still persevered and went through it. And of course, like seeing the humanity side of him, of making the mistakes along the way, of lack of appreciation, some neglect. What I loved is how they showed that this consistently throughout his journey, as his even before the accident, or before the time where they call him where he got hurt, he was being stripped of other things. His career was dwindling. He was being stripped of career achievements. But that would bring him down to finding Dana. That would bring him down to finding things that really mattered more to him, things that were truly the essence of life. And then even after the accident, and then as he keeps going, again, like the part that really stood out to me in this journey was something I never thought I would hear in this documentary, or even thought was a thing that came up, because I am someone who is not familiar with the disabled community and that extent of like what they must go through and perceptions of what they deal with, like this, that thing when we went to the Academy Awards and they were saying how you have to have the strength to be in front of 2 billion people, and then in that auditorium itself to be dealing with the fact of you have to smile and not think about how many people are looking at you out of pity. And I'm like, oh man, it must be something like disabled people deal with all the time.
Yeah.
Like the specific look that you get. And then even if someone is treating you normal, quote unquote, normally, of how I can imagine it could still be in the back of your mind, you know? Like, are they just intentionally trying to treat me normal while they're being aware of what it is? And do I just latch onto the respect? Like trying to be in the mindset of that. It was something that was so specific to me. And even right down to the very end of it, it talks about that it's not a before and after of his life, that it's just one continual timeline. And that continual timeline brought him to the point of like, yes, he got stripped of everything. Like when his career was being stripped, he found Dana and his family again. And then this brought him back to like, oh, what really matters is the relationships that we form along the way. Like that was so freaking beautiful. That was the most powerful aspect to me. And then, like you brought up with legacy continuing on with his children, like they say our children are our legacy. That's a phrase I've heard my whole life. And then to see that his children are literally carrying on the legacy of what they established with this foundation, and in the midst of like how he dealt with some scrutiny from the disabled community and how that was becoming a very like they made it very clear here that he was an inspiring person and a polarizing person while being while championing for these aspects of like being able to overcome the disabilities and such, and how that messed with people's identities. But then to see that like, no, they are succeeding, that it is happening for people, that it's something worth fighting for, and that like I appreciated the nuance of that. I mean, there's a part of me I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to hear a little bit more of the discussion behind this, especially for people who are much bigger experts than myself, as opposed to someone who's like just beginning to open up the conversation in my own brain about it. But the very idea of, because like there are people who are born with the disability, and there are people who have an accident happen. Now they are disabled and have to deal with it, and the gray of that murky line of, we are not saying there is something wrong with your identity. There's not something wrong with you as a individual, as a being, as a person. Yet there's so much more that you can have that sometimes having this disability strips you away from. But yet the movie also shows, a documentary through the narration and the audio archives of Christopher Reeve, that there was still so much beauty that occurred of who he became and the life lesson. But man, that love story too between him and Dana was one of the most beautiful love stories I've ever heard.
And then hearing Will when he was reading her journal, you know, like she was going through a tough time as well, but she was still staying strong. And I think like, she a lot of that came like from what she learned from Chris as well, and also from him through her. And I think that a lot of that stemmed, they elevated each other. It's just such a beautiful relationship. And, I think they really needed each other, especially through those dark and tough times. A big part of her was lost that day when he left us. And it was just so sad too for Will. I mean, in 18 months, he lost his grandmother, his mother, and his father.
Yeah.
Really
tough.
And then you were talking about like legacy too. It was really, again, inspiring to see, like, even after life, that his children are still handling the foundation, and like now people are starting to through their disabilities, they're able to just start walking again and start doing what he wanted. And you could tell too, like, he actually cares about these issues. Like, even before the accident, he's an environmentalist. He was into human rights and all that stuff. So, and he was going to DC with Susan Sarandon. So, like, these are important issues to him. And then, like, that one story that really touched me really heavily was with that kid who was like, there's no way I can get off a ventilator. And then he came into the room and said, hey, I think you can't get off a ventilator. And then that kid's like, I'm going to get off a ventilator. Yeah. Superman told me I could. Like, that's just so sweet and so inspiring. Like, he didn't have to come into that room and do that. Like, he actually cared about human beings. So, to see that, it's incredible.
Yeah, I think what they show with his background is that it's not like he was born this way. Like, and I don't mean physically, like, I mean in terms mentally.
Yeah.
Like, there's obviously a lot of darkness that he had to combat within him. And the fact that he was able to exude such light and actually have transformative inspiration is not an easy thing to accomplish in one's life. And this documentary poses the question at the very top, or at least the theme of it, and by the way, for a documentary, just a quick aside, what an amazingly edited documentary.
No, seriously.
Like, I just can't imagine, like, whoa, to edit something like this is like a nightmare.
The non-linear and linear way they were editing was incredible.
That was really powerful. But the quality of he talks, Chris, it really just stood out to me right away of, that's why Christopher Reeve was such a good Superman, because he understood that it's about the qualities of who Superman is more than anything else. And so much of this documentary is about what is a hero, what's a real life hero. And I think this really does demonstrate it, that yes, he was playing Superman and he used that opportunity as, it's like, it makes me just question myself so much. Like to be like, oh, I have this identity of being Superman, and now I'm beloved by millions. Oh crap! But being Superman is like damaging my career. It's ruined. And then you start seeing like disdain peeking through in interviews for this perception that people have of him, and he's trying to be like, I'm not him. Like that's not me, you know. And then it's like tragically stripped away from him. We're like, that's definitely not Superman. You know, like the illustration of kryptonite overtaking his whole body. Yeah. That's definitely not Superman. And yet he becomes like a real life hero. And as opposed to playing a hero, he becomes a true hero in the midst of true hardship I cannot fathom possibly ever going through. It's a really, really strong story of love, really, what they told here.
Yeah, in a strange way, kind of him losing the ability to have full autonomy of his body. Presented a door for him to change the world in a different type of way, to be a different type of hero, to formulate a new legacy. Granted, started by him being Superman, but which was like the launch off point, but because of that, and how much he was already an activist prior to this, just allowed the doorway to help people that maybe would not have gotten as much help or attention had he not gone through his life in the way that it had unfolded.
Yeah, I like that they kept it focused at the very end about this. This was also about the ongoing effect that he had in terms of truly making an impact on science, an impact on people's actual lives. Not just he's an inspirational guy for sticking it through and keeping his chin up when he could have easily called it quits. That's inspiring in and of itself. For absolutely. Sure. The love story between him and Dana and the resilience and the sacrifice that Dana give. Absolutely. It's all very, very motivating and inspiring. However, the real like big thing is that's why he had to be Superman and be stripped away from it, was because if he wasn't Superman, he would not have been able to make such an impact that has obviously really helped play a massive influence in the disability community. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like it feels like a sense of fate in a way, because it's so easy to. That's what. It's what's so crazy about it, because it's so easy to look at it and go, man, what it is a tragedy, and just stick to that and just be like, man, what a tragedy, stripped.
But he made something.
But he did something so like more important than if he hadn't had that happen, and it's a sacrifice in his life that it had to be done. But man, what a valuable sacrifice that is probably taken. Not probably, it's for sure taken for granted.
Yeah, and it kind of speaks to the idea of like you can't see the fuller picture while you're carving at it. You know, like in a weird kind of analogy, like the marble, like the rock or like the stone is like untouched, right? But then as you're carving away at it, you start to see like what the picture is, and like obviously he isn't in the moment as he's living it. He's like, you know, the ruminations, the depression, like you're focusing on the fight and like what you haven't formed. Or what you've lost, but then like you take a look at like this documentary now in full, and like the work that his family is continuing to do, like being Superman to then being a champion for science and for people of disability was his legacy. Like that entire thing is his impact in the world, not only from a point of fiction and inspiring film, but it's just inspiring research and then just people to have better quality lives overall.
Yeah, and then like I said, that story about what he did with that little kid was really inspiring, but I didn't even know who Brooke Ellison was. Like that was an incredible story too. The woman who went to Harvard, and then they made a movie about it too. Now I actually want to see that as well. So that was incredible, but again, it just showed that, you know, this man really cared about this cause, and like it wasn't just about him. It was like the bigger picture. And I just appreciate like that he like just was again a humanitarian at heart, and like really wanted to inspire other people to look past, you know, the issue and to inspire them to to get better. And I know that I'm not saying that like there is an issue, but you know what I mean. Like so like very inspiring stuff, and just really a tragic loss, obviously, and just an incredible documentary.
Yeah, man. The fact that they were both died passed so
soon
was insane.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that poor kid, poor
Yeah.
boy, man.
It really seems like kind of a love tale, though, in that regard. Like, I remember when I was really, really young, learning about it, like happening with a pet, not my pet, but like someone who I was working for someone. I was like 15 years old, and they had these two dogs, and then this one dog was really sick, and then it died. It eventually died, and then a couple weeks later, that dog became the other dog became so depressed from it that it got sick, and then it eventually passed away from that, because the dog wasn't sick before that. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
And it seems like, oh wow, I mean, it's tragic. It's a sense of like, it's just terrible irony of what occurs. It's like, oh, this freedom is finally given, in a sense, right? Like you got to imagine that there's got to be a bit of a duality type of grief in a situation like that, because there's so much caretaking and love and hope, and that there's also, but at the same time, it's like, okay, but now this responsibility of taking care of this individual has been lifted from me, despite how heavy of a heartbreak this is,
right?
And then to have that instilled, it just kind of, to me, spoke even more volumes of love, that this sickness would suddenly come in the form, get her. It's like there's multiple ways of sort of reading into it. One could just be like, that's life, shit happens. Sometimes something happens, and the other part is maybe that sickness held off so she could take care of him, or maybe that sickness formed because the other part of her, maybe that sickness formed because of the heartache of how much she loved him. You know, there's like so many different variables of that, or it just depends on your perspective. And that's something I think this documentary really poses well, is like, when something terrible happens, how are you going to choose to perceive how that happens? You know, like when Aaron's store closes too early and he didn't get that burger.
Didn't get that burger.
And also too,
it happened
like,
for a reason.
And also too, you see like after he passed, how empty the house felt. But also too, like you see the repercussions. Like they gave the van away to a kid who was never able to be transported anywhere. Like that was something beautiful came out of something sad.
Yeah, yeah. That's why you're going to have this channel, to compete with Cinepals.
Something beautiful comes out of something sad. Should I read a couple? There's only a few.
Nah, I think we're good, man.
No?
Man, we don't
this
got
whole
that.
movie was true.
It's literally
That's all
exactly
it was.
the whole thing. That's facts.
Yeah, we got to appreciate you, though, man. Anyway, guys, what did you guys think about the documentary? What did you learn? What was your big takeaway from experiencing this? Leave your thoughts down below. Thanks, Aaron and Andrew, for being here. No one make eye contact with each other.
I'll make eye contact with
for a while.
I'm talking with
please.
Superman.
He's
looking at us right now.
We all got emotional, and as men, I think it's best we just look the other way. There's now officially 2 doors in here. Each choose one. Leave.
None of us. You stay here. We'll just both leave.
Yeah, you say leave, and I will just roll on the ground. Carl.
Just put a blanket on you.
Yeah.
Turn the lights off.
The art part. I don't know. I don't feel like you're enjoying this as much as Aaron and I are.
I am internally.
So
I'm gonna go find a burger after this.
Still laughing our asses off. Tension and release. You know what I mean?
Yes. I'm just in a lot of pain, but I'm doing good.
He just
Greg.
wanted to do his trivia. That's what he
It's really bad. We didn't get to go through the IMDb facts.
I'm pissed, Greg. I didn't read my trivia.
Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks so much for being here, and looking forward to see how this ties into the Flash. All right, I'll see you guys.
I was just.
Khadijah Sims, hello. Welcome to your first patron of the month. Day of this month.
Hey.
No retakes.
You are a patron of the month.
Fake that cake. Khadijah, we're going to do this. Khadijah. Kalima.
Yeah.
What a cute pup. K stands for kryptonite, because you make me weak in my language.
Hey, H stands for Heron Hall, where I would like to live with you.
A stands for Appalachia, a movie I have yet to see.
D stands for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, because you are as beloved by all of the world as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I stands for Icarus because Khadija flew too close to the sun.
Oh, J stands for jingle, because I bet every day you walk outside, you're probably singing yourself a nice little jingle.
A stands for apple because that's your favorite body part.
Oh, and H stands for hemorrhoids, which are a problem
Complements the
for your
apple.
favorite body part, you know?
Well, Khadija, hope your apple's doing great this Christmas. You have a great holiday season, and maybe, just maybe, we can top this one in January 2025.
Get ready.
Merry Christmas.